absolute radio silence from the various heads of state and government across the European continent, and of course from the EU heads of the institutions here in Brussels. Normally Charles Michel, Ursula von der Leyen, David Sassoli and Jens Stoltenberg from NATO are extremely active on Twitter, but for the last 24 hours they have not commented, and that was expressed as well yesterday by the European Commission spokesperson Eric Mamer. He said it's not the Commission's role to comment until every single vote has been counted, and he implied as well that other EU member states and heads of state shouldn't make any reference either, referencing of course that tweet by Janez, the Slovenian Prime Minister, who even later again in the day took to Twitter yesterday to call on people to calm down and say that the left were just getting angry at the possibility of having Donald Trump in the White House for another 4 years. Now, it's important to point out, Rosie, that Jansa is a big supporter of Donald Trump, and Melania Trump, the wife of Donald Trump, actually stems originally from Slovenia. Another EU head of state that's a big ally and friend of Donald Trump and who actually visited the White House last May 2019 is Viktor Orban. Now, he said nothing for the moment, but his chief advisor did tell reporters yesterday that they were feeling a little bit pessimistic that Donald Trump might not get to become the president of the United States for the next 4 years. But we heard as well from Heiko Maas, that's the German foreign affairs minister. He put out a statement yesterday to the press saying that participation in these elections was historically high, but he said unfortunately polarisation was also, and that's a sentiment that was also echoed by Laura Thornton, a lady I spoke to in Stockholm who represents the Institute of Democracy and Electoral Assistance. We can take a listen now to what she had to say.
I think then there's another matter that we need to contend with in the United States, regardless of who wins, which is the fact that we are an extraordinarily divided society. And, if Biden wins, you still have almost 50% of the population that feels extremely strongly in supportive of Trump, and vice versa. So I think post-election, there will be a lot of, angst and some healing that will need to happen regardless of who wins.
And that's the same feeling really in Brussels, that America is deeply divided, and regardless of who sits in the Oval Office, Europe won't even be their priority. They will have so many domestic issues to figure out, and that's why we're hearing from the likes of Guy Verhofstadt, that's the former Belgian Prime Minister, a current member of the European Parliament for Renew Europe, who took to Twitter yesterday to allude really to the chaos over across the pond and say that that's why Europeans need to stick together and they need to put their own destiny in their very own hands. But that, Rosie, is extremely complicated because, as you know, the 27 EU member states are very different, represent very different interests. All different countries are very different sizes, and they don't really get on when they sit around the table at EU summits and discuss contentious issues.